Hey, good morning, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Bamich. Here's an update on our wintry weather heading our way tomorrow. Still not looking like a big deal, but as always, we've got the chance of snow, so everybody obviously is freaking out, even though this is probably going to have zero impact on 90% of the roads around here. Let me show you the setup right now. I'll show you why this probably is not going to be a big deal. Now, first of all, we've been talking about this for a couple days. Here's our stalled front way down here in the Gulf of Mexico and off the southeast coast. Strong jet stream is punching in from the southwest, and we've got a secondary cold front. This is the leading edge of the really cold air. You can see it diving down through the middle of the country. If you look down in Texas, this is the area we're watching. This is the wave of low pressure that's going to develop and then track up in this general direction. Now, the trends in the models the last couple of days in the data shows us trending a little bit further east, which means probably pulling some of the moisture out and not timing out with the cold front. Now, I talked about why we're getting snow in Texas and not here right now. It's pretty obvious when you look at the temperatures. I'm going to put the temperatures on here, and you'll see that the coldest air is actually way down to the south. This core of the Arctic air is actually pushed down here first. So it's actually colder down here in North Texas and to our west than it is over areas in here. So if you think about the core of the cold air is here, it still has to swing in from the west. So even though this system's heading our way, the cold air is still back to the west, and we need to get the cold air in here first to get snow. Now, in Texas, this is actually a much better setup for snow because they've got this big Arctic high to their north, which is pushing in the cold air at the same time they got a low. For us, we're not going to have that because they're kind of moving together, and unfortunately, the storm's going to be here by the time the cold air gets here. The timing's a little bit off. That's why this isn't a really easy forecast and why it's probably going to be mostly a cold rain. But you can see the heart of that cold air is sitting off towards the west. So let me show you how this unfolds. We'll go right to the guidance. We'll use the short range modeling first. The NAM model, which has been the most aggressive and kind of an outlier, and it's really been out to lunch. So I'm going to show it to you because even it's starting to back off of the craziness it had earlier. You see the Arctic high over Texas. Look at the snow down there in Texas. That is likely going to be a pretty interesting day down there, though it's not winter storm criteria yet. It's winter weather advisory, which, oh, by the way, I probably should have showed you this first. There are winter weather advisories down in southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and Alabama. But notice, if you're wondering why this isn't going to be a big deal yet, we don't even have winter weather advisories in this area. Now, we might see some, but that should be a telltale sign. If this was going to be a big deal, there would at least be a winter storm watch out, right? There isn't right now, and that's because the potential for a huge accumulating snow is very, very small right now. So let's get back to the model. Let's show you how this unfolds. We'll go through tonight. This is about 7 o'clock tonight, and notice all the moisture down to the south. Now, a couple things I notice in the NAM, which usually produces way too much moisture. A couple things to watch for that could be big flies in the ointment that could really make this turn into almost nothing would be if the low kind of blows up down here to the southeast, and I'm going to go towards tomorrow morning. We'll stop this at 7 a.m. If we see a bunch of thunderstorms down here, if there's a bunch of thunderstorms down in this area, that would block the inflow of moisture. That's always something you watch for. But you see this tomorrow morning, even with the leading edge of the moisture, this is all rain tomorrow morning. Yeah, there could be a little mix here and there, but overall, it's not a really good setup for snow. This is just mainly a cold rain right now across most of our area as we go through the day tomorrow. We'll stop this at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can see the snow starting to show up. And again, this is the most aggressive model we have. You see the snow up there, but this is all rain, folks. Temperatures at this time are going to be above freezing. The ground temperatures are in the 40s. We go into Friday night. Now, this is the time frame. If we're going to see a burst of snow, it's going to be Friday night into early Saturday. So we'll go into Friday night. We're now at 7 p.m. Friday night, and we're going into the overnight hours. Notice it's still mostly rain. Just on the very edge are you seeing these wintry mix trying to show up. This is all rain, and look at all the storms developing here. Remember I talked about how that could be a fly in the ointment? I mean, even look at down in Florida. We've got big-time thunderstorms developing in the model here, and even offshore. This all would rob moisture from getting up in here, so this is likely overdone a little bit and something to keep an eye on. If you literally watch the radar tonight and tomorrow, you see big storms blowing up down there, that's something that could block the inflow of moisture up to the north. And you can see as we go through time, notice that the rain never really moves much. We don't see that rain snow line make it any further south than maybe Interstate 40, and then we go into tomorrow or Saturday morning, and the cold air starts to move in, and it wants to kind of linger the moisture, maybe a few flurries on Saturday to our north and east. But look at all the storms out east. I doubt we'll see much moisture lagging back here. When you got big time storms here, this is going to be robbing all the moisture. So I don't think you're going to get much back to the northwest. So it's not looking like a big deal at this point. So I'll show you another model, the European model, which has been kind of the one, that and the GFS I've been doing a blend between. This shows tonight through tomorrow. Notice that there's our wintry mix tomorrow afternoon. This is 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then it quickly changes to mostly rain. I mean, when you look at this, this is not anything, at least from a map and temperature standpoint, that would say that's a lot of snow. Now, there could be a burst up in here, and this is the one area. North central North Carolina will be an area to watch. If we're going to see a surprise burst of snow, I think it's going to be in that area from, like, you know, I-85 corridor in north central North Carolina. We go into Saturday morning, the moisture moves out, and temperatures start falling. This is when the coldest air arrives, actually Saturday, after the moisture is out of here. And just to kind of give you an idea, still thinking this is kind of the theme here. We're going to see the best chance for accumulating snows up in the mountains, the foothills, Interstate 40 corridor, and then right in here. This is going to be the one area. You see this little area here that's kind of enhanced? That's the one area I think if we're going to see a surprise burst of snow will be there. And I've updated my forecast map for tomorrow into Saturday. And you notice I just have snowflakes across the Piedmont. And then maybe a trace to a half an inch, but I had to put a trace to 2 inch, and that's a huge spread. In some ways, it's really not a big spread, but you know, a lot of people think that is trace to 2 inch. I think there's a chance for a burst of snow there, and then trace to 2 inches up here. So I had to scale these back because I think there could be a huge range. It could be nothing, or it could be 2 inches. There are a couple locations in our viewing area where I certainly think that is possible. And just to reiterate, this is the Weather Service forecast right now for our area. It's even more pessimistic than me for snow, and I kind of agree with this. I think there's this area up in here, though I think there's probably going to be more up in here. But look across our Charlotte area. We're talking a trace to a tenth of an inch. And it's probably not going to stick. It's just not going to stick. The ground temperatures are just super warm, and I don't expect any of this to actually stick to the ground. So it's gonna snow tomorrow. I'm not going to be shocked to see a flakes fall from the sky. I just don't think we're going to see anything accumulate, and I don't think it's going to be a big issue at all on the roadways, and I'm going to show you why. So you may have seen me show this map before. These are the soil temperatures in North Carolina, measured about 4 inches below the surface, so pretty close to the surface. And you can see the soil temperatures across the Piedmont are in the upper 40s to low 50s. Now across the foothills and the mountains, they're in the 40s and 30s. So the fact that the ground is still so warm, and it's going to be warm even tomorrow, it's hard to get snow to accumulate unless you get grass or bushes or something that gets it away from the ground. Now, this is the soil temperature. Remember, you have an elevated surface like a patio, a grill, a car top, anything that can get cold and not be touching the soil could get some accumulation. That's why when you look at my map, I have grass and elevated surfaces. So that's what I'm thinking right now. We'll go back to the map. There's a look at the system. You could see the cold air, and this is the cold air heading our way up here to the north, by the way. That is some really cold air. I'm going to turn the satellite off, and we'll turn the temperatures on. So a cold weekend ahead once the cold air gets here, and we'll have to watch for some good snow in the mountains Saturday night into Sunday as that next surge of moisture comes down, because behind this cold front, there's actually going to be a nice surge of moisture coming off the Great Lakes, so some good northwest flow snow. I talked about that last night, and I'll talk about it tonight at 6 and 11. I'll be in today and tomorrow. We'll keep you up to date on this, but again, not expecting major travel issues. Yes, it'll be fun. We might see some snow. The bigger story probably is going to be the cold. Have a great Thursday, everybody.